I would say that this episode might not be our best one. It came at a weird time, at least for me personally. But we get into a lot of good discussions and talk about things that we present ideas about drugs that Corey and I have never really truly had. We've always been really wild men, and it's kind of a trip to see us both maturing, not only in life, but, with our drug use and stuff like that. Because if we would have done this podcast 5 years ago, it would have been completely different. So, hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to check out the Mind Control podcast Instagram. We're on Instagram. Just search Mind Control Podcast and give the video a thumbs up. Please let us know what you think. Next episode, we're going to be checking out a movie called The Tribe. It's on Amazon Prime, I believe, or Hulu. I think Amazon Prime. And it's all about boarding school in the Ukraine for deaf kids. And the entire movie goes about with no dialogue and no subtitles, completely in sign language. And it's supposed to become some completely weird new way of watching a movie or something like that. So check it out. We will be uploading that the next week or the week after. And then, we'll see where we go from there. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hello everybody, I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control. So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, Yeah.
Mind Control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's. Mind Control.
On today's episode of Mind Control, we are going to be discussing Dr. Carl L. Hart's newest book, Drug Use for Grown-Ups, Chasing Liberty in the Land of Fear. Published by Penguin Press on January 12, 2021, Drug Use for Grown-Ups presents the argument that the greatest damage comes from drugs being illegal versus the actual drug itself. Dr. Carl L. Hart argues for legalization as well as safety measures and readily available information provided to the public in hopes of real drug reform. He also calls to the forefront the real reasons many of these drugs are still illegal, and they have little to do with the well-being of the public. Dr. Carl L. Hart is an American psychologist and neuroscientist. He is professor of psychology at Columbia University. He is well known for his research on drug abuse and drug addiction. Dr. Carl L. Hart has delivered a book that deals with addiction, social justice, healthy drug use, and real freedom, providing statistics and facts that support the idea that drugs should be legalized in order to increase the safety of its users. This is Dr. Carl L. Hart's Drug Use for Grown-Ups, Chasing Liberty in the Land of Fear. Yeah, man. So, Drug Use for Grown-Ups, man, by Carl L. Hart. That is the subject of today's podcast. So, what did you think about it?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was, it was not exactly what I anticipated, but it was definitely interesting and presented a lot of new ideas. It presented a lot of ideas I had already had, information I had already had, but a lot of new ways of looking at certain things. And it was interesting, to hear somebody's take on drugs that wasn't heavily based on psychedelic, mystery kind of shit. No, not mystery, but spiritual shit. I feel like it's really rare that you hear people who are into drugs and are kind of drug enthusiasts who are not where psychedelics are not the first thing that they talk about. He seems like he's a lot more interested in in just drugs in general, like opiates and amphetamines and things like that.
What the fuck? I don't even know why I'm coughing. I ain't getting nothing.
I was like, did but yeah, so there's a lot of new ways of thinking that he had, and it was a good read. There's a lot of good parts in it, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
No,
what about you?
I I agree. He likes his opiates. That actually that was the one thing I really did like about the book was that because like you said, it wasn't exactly what I expected. I thought I don't know what I expected. I guess maybe I thought. I mean, he says it's not that, but reading the title, I thought maybe there was going to be more like how-tos, not maybe like how to do drugs, but like
dosage.
Like, I mean, he did,
like
dosage stuff like that. I mean, but he does talk about like about setting time aside and like how like most people aren't addicted and blah blah blah. But what I really liked about the book was that the one thing that it did do that kind of threw me off, and I guess I should have saw it coming just because of the heroin, the fact that he loves heroin, but he challenged my views in the sense that I realized I've been that person when he talks about how he hates people who are like, oh yeah, I just smoke weed, I don't do that other hard stuff, or I just do this, I don't do that, and how like that's bullshit, like that's pretentious, and like you think your drug's better, and like it was funny because like it really did hit me because I was like, dude, like I'm pretty sure I've said that even recently. Like, yeah, I wouldn't touch heroin or crack. Yeah. Like, I only smoke weed. Like, that makes me better than them, And like, I don't know. Like, obviously, like, I still have like, I'd still probably rather smoke weed than crack and shit. But like, the way he explained it, I was like, he does have a point. Like, I am being pretentious in this. Like, it doesn't matter what drug you're putting in your body. It really matters on how it's affecting you and how you handle it and how you let it. How you assimilate it into your life, because if you can do fucking drugs on the weekend and still, like he does, fucking be a college professor and make all this fucking money, then it's like, hell yeah, It's like, I just like that he, I guess, I don't know. I liked it because it did challenge my belief. And then even the thing you texted me yesterday about the psychedelics, like, when I read that chapter, like the first part, I actually kind of liked the beginning of it because, like you said, most times when you read things about drugs or anything, about drugs, really, it's normally if they're getting into harder stuff and like they're talking good about it, it's normally psychedelics and about how spiritual and blah, blah, blah. And I like how he kind of was talking shit about that, like, and I mean, I like that he came around to the idea of psychedelics, but it was nice. It was refreshing to see somebody arguing for drugs without psychedelics, like you were saying, being at the forefront of that. Like psychedelics and weed were not his main concerns. He was more concerned with crack, heroin, like these opiates, hard drugs that most people, like, you hear the name and like, oh, they do that? Oh, okay, I don't want to be around that type of person, Yeah. And it's just interesting. It just really framed it, like I've been hitting up my dealers for some heroin, So.
been looking at them a little bit more respect lately, but it definitely is an important book, and I think that it's like it just shows where we are at in life, kind of like in America, I guess, that books like this are coming out and doctors like this are coming out to speak, or researchers doctors are coming out to speak, and fucking it's super interesting that we're just here in this place, like in this space already, like that. It's even discussed. Like there's a legitimate doctor who comes out and says he does heroin recreationally. Like I brought this book on that little camping trip we went on with my mom and everybody, and it was super interesting bringing up the ideas to them, because my mom, has had drug issues in the past, and nothing crazy, but and then her boyfriend has had them too, so it was like discussing these ideas, and it was just like it's fun to talk now lately about things, like, because I think with the podcast, I'm starting to get like a lot more open, and like to a level of open-minded where it's like, I literally don't, like, I will ask the hardest questions, but I don't care either. It's like I care and I'm interested, but I'm not like feeling emotional about things. So it's like I can bring up these ideas and I can read this book and be like, but it's not necessarily something I'm going to dive into and just develop this value 100% like I have in the past. Like, I feel like in the past, if this book right here would make me be like, I would legitimately do fucking heroin. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, I can be like, hey, there's a lot of truth to that. Maybe I don't agree with it in a certain sense, but I can kind of try on these values in discussion, in life. And it was interesting, this book here, to be like, okay, I get what he's saying. I don't necessarily know where I stand with it right now, as far as like how I don't know how. Okay, I don't know necessarily how safe it is to discuss these ideas in a world where human beings are as ignorant as they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe safe
Yeah,
isn't the word, or effective maybe.
No, I actually think it's a really good point. Like, the it's hard to discuss because I feel like his ideas have a lot of basis and like there's a legitimacy and they make a lot of sense. But you're right. In the America that we live in, where it is very taboo to do drugs, where you can't test your own drugs. I mean, obviously these are the things he's advocating for, so we know. But yeah, in as it stands right now today, you and me, if we sat here and just said, "Oh, opiates aren't that bad, heroin isn't that bad," it would almost be a little irresponsible without giving, like, I feel like the facts he gave. Like, I mean, honestly, I've always thought this, and I mean, he put it into words better. That literally, like, I forget exactly how he says it, but like the number one cause of death is not from drugs, is not because of a pure form of a drug. Normally, it's normally because of ignorance, and not even just that you're maybe not get what you think you're getting. Maybe you are getting what you think you're getting. But I mean, honestly, how many of us have ever, you and me, we've done plenty of drugs. I couldn't tell you what the correct dosage is I should be taking, what a lethal dose is from what a non-lethal dose is, and like, that's why I like this book, because the things he was advocating for are common sense. It's like, people are going to do this shit. So provide them with the things to test. And if they still, I mean, it sounds callous, but if they still end up killing themselves in the process, then in a way, okay, at least you provided them with the literature. They had an actual chance. As it stands now, if you get into these drugs in America, you don't have a chance. Like, it's hard to fucking know what you're doing. Like, And it's like, you can't expect people not to do drugs either.
Yeah. And just to touch on what you said, like, I don't think a person would want to, nobody's trying, most of the time, most people are not trying to kill themselves when they, it's not like, they're doing it. And if they had the right dosage and they knew what they were doing and they had clean drugs, maybe, this idea of people killing themselves purposely, I don't know what I'm saying. It's just that, like, I don't know, whatever. Suicide with drugs, I'd be curious to know how much of the time it's purposeful and how much of the time it's accidental. But the thing is, a lot of the time you just don't know, because people can be in dark spots when they're on drugs. Like Mac Miller, for instance, there's like ideas or whatever that, maybe he did it on purpose, or, it was a thought or something I'd read about. And it's just like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who kill themselves on drugs, and it's never known whether they do it purposefully or accidentally. But
but I do feel like, though, he kind of talks about that in a way when he says, like, if we're really going to protect, like, the Declaration, or, like, the Declaration of Independence and all that, and, like, there are fucking actual rights, like the right to, the pursuit of happiness is literally why pretty much, I guess most would be the word, because I guess not everybody. Some people, like you said, do drugs to literally escape the reality because maybe it's so bad. But most people, but even in that sense, the drugs are being used as an escape, as in a way to feel a little better about your situation. So I think, because I think he talked about it, but like, even with the Mac Miller thing, I mean, obviously nobody ever knows. But from reading this book, it kind of occurred to me that, man, probably most drug overdoses, even the ones we think are people intentionally trying to kill themselves, like, unless you get a whole fucking pill bottle and you shove it down your throat at once, obviously you're probably trying to kill yourself. But, like, a lot of these deaths, even if they had a lot in their system, like, I mean, fuck, dude, we've been nights where it's like, we're back in the day where we're going so hard that there's no stopping, and it's not that we're trying to kill ourselves. It's just, once you're in it, like, you don't want to lose that good feeling, which is also bad. So, I mean, like, that's the thing, like, drugs can be bad. And I don't know if I know you watched a Joe Rogan interview, but I watched another interview he did. I meant to send it to you. I fucking forgot, with this dude. I forgot his name. And it was actually a really good interview. I watched it because Carl Hart actually tweeted it, and he said, this is actually, like, my favorite interview I've done so far, because the guy was actually thoughtful. And the guy kind of really pressed him. Like, he was cool with him, but he kind of really pressed him, because he was saying, like, look, I get, like, where you're coming from. He's like, but don't you feel that you're able to do heroin, you're able to do these drugs and get these higher quality drugs because you are in a privileged position in your life. You're a privileged person. You're some people, literally a lot of people who do these drugs, heroin and shit, they're working fucking 5 days a week, 6 days a week. They're struggling to pay their bills. They have literally depression, mental issues going on. And he was telling him, he's like, you're working at a university, making a shitload of money. You have free time. You're able to know what type of drugs you're getting.
Yeah.
So it's like, he was kind of saying, it was cool the way he posed it though, but he was kind of saying like, do you think it's a little irresponsible for you, the person you are being, or the person that you are, to be saying these things? He's like, if you were a regular person on the street, maybe. He's like, but you're not a regular person. Like, you are. I mean, even though now he's more of a celebrity because of the book, even before, you're not a regular person. If you're a professor at Columbia University, you're privileged, you're high up,
What was his response?
He was trying to, I'm not going to lie. A part of me felt like he was struggling to respond, but from reading the book, I understood what he was trying to say. And he was just saying like, yes, like you do have a point. Like, yes, I probably have it easier. And for me, my experience is easier for me to do heroin and keep my life in check because of my life. He's like, but just because, he was telling the interviewer, like, but just because it's easier for me and maybe it's healthier for me, does that mean because I'm privileged, I should be allowed to do that? And then the poor man on the street, oh, you have mental issues, you have problems, so you don't get drugs. He's like, that's wrong too. He's like, I'm just trying to say that I'm in a position of power now, and it's such a stigma to say you're on drugs that if more people like me who work in these prestigious jobs admit to doing drugs, maybe, eventually things will change. Because it's true, dude. Like, I work at a school and like I talk to people all the time, and sometimes little things will get said and like, I know they would never admit it, but I think like, oh, these people probably do smoke or probably do this. But because of job wise, it's so taboo that these same people will be in a group setting and talk down on it because they don't want to be known that they're part of it. Oh. And I think that's what he was trying to say. Like, I wrote this book not because like I'm privileged, but because I am privileged and I'm in a position where I can say I use heroin. I should say it, because if I hide it, then I'm making the poor person who does it on the corner look worse, because people, that's literally what people's idea of it is. When you think of heroin or crack, you think of poor people doing drugs, poor people who have mental issues. And he's saying he wants to show the other side that, hey, you can be successful and do these things too. It's just, it's different. But I got what the interviewer made good points though. He's like, you are privileged. And then he also was bringing up that his family had a lot of issues with heroin. And he's like, because he was saying, he's like, at parts of the book, I kind of would get upset because I would think I've seen heroin ravage my family, my community. And like, he was kind of tripping up on his words, Carl, but like, he talks about it in the book, that is the problem, is that because there's so much stigma around drugs, you have all these people doing it, not knowing what they're doing. And then on top of that, most people, not everybody's mentally healthy. Like, fuck, dude, I feel like and you and me even, I feel like are pretty, there are people really, really down in it. And I feel like you and me have a lot of issues ourselves, but compared to some people, like, fuck, man, like, some people are like fucking really going through it. And then you throw drugs in the mix or something else. And it's like, I just like how Carl was saying that the drugs aren't the problem. It's like we're using drugs as a scapegoat to not have to deal with the poverty and the homelessness and the mental health issues. So we're going to blame it on drugs. We're going to say it's the opiates. It's not the fact that they can't get a job where they live. It's not the fact that where they live is so fucking poor that it's hard to do anything besides drugs. It's like, I mean, obviously people still have to make their own choices. Everybody's an adult, but I do like that because I feel like looking at a lot of things he said, and then just things we've heard, about like everybody pretty much knows about the crack epidemic, now, like in hindsight, everybody pretty much knows that it was like not overblown, but it was totally aimed at a certain group of people, and the certain group of people were taken, especially like African Americans, Mexicans, like they got the brunt of it. Like they're the crackheads, even though I like how he provides statistics. Just as many white people, if not more, were doing crack too, but you're not hearing about that because it's I don't know. I'm maybe I'm missing a part, but you know what I mean? Like, I like that he brought that up because it's true. Like, I mean, not in a racist way, but when you think about
when I think about like the crack epidemic back in the day, I think about African American communities. But I like when he says like, but that's completely untrue. Like that's just the way we see it. I mean, not untrue because it was there too, but he's saying it was in these other communities too. But we just ignored that because it's not as sensational when it's not like I don't know, you know. Maybe I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, when it comes to crack and stuff like that, I feel like I kind of missed that in a lot of the shit that, I mean, obviously I did. I was like I was born in '90, so it was like I was an infant.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I've seen, I guess, is just from movies, and I think that's a big thing about what he talks about too, which is interesting, is like a lot of how what we think about of drugs is a lot based on what we see in movies and in videos, and I like that a part that when he talks about PCP and shit like that and bath salts and because you know that was a part where I realized, oh yeah, I definitely have this like tarnished idea of what PCP is and what bath salts are or were or whatever the fuck. And like I legitimately thought, you know, PCP makes you have this fucking wild strength and freaks you, but you know, and I get that it's just a chemical and it's very similar to ketamine and I kind of knew all that, but at the same time, like I've legitimately, I don't know. It's like I've literally seen on video people on fucking like who knows what the fuck they're on, but it's like those videos fuck you up when you see people who are fucked up like that. You see people like that in real life. You know, you can. It's that's one thing that the book I feel like lacks is a firm connection to seeing the horrors of drug abuse in real life. Like I was expecting to kind of see or hear about stories about like wild ass overdoses and the darkness of it all. And I feel like I didn't really see that. And it's like, it's hard for me to really, I don't know. It was just like, there is something to that too, emotionally and like sociologically or whatever the fuck. It's like, it's legitimate. You know, there's something in that like darkness that drugs bring out of human beings. You know, there is a beautiful thing that can happen, but there's also a lot of dark shit that comes out of human beings. And yeah, it's because of our own flaws, but that's just kind of that's just what we are. We're humans, we're flawed, we're always going to be that way. And it's unfair to be like, hey, it's not the drug's fault, it's your fault. And it's like, okay, yeah, but we're also just human. So it's like, I don't know, there's something there. There's something to that idea. That's kind of one of the things that kind of tugged at me in a lot of the book was like, hey man, we're just humans, and yeah, there's shit there you can't like hold a fucking cookie jar like this and then when people start grabbing the cookies be like, you fucking piece, like, no, it's your fault. You know, I don't fucking know. You know, when
I feel like I get what you're trying to say, but I feel like he was kind of saying like the opposite of that, like, you know, like the
no, yeah.
Or not the opposite of that. I'm sorry. That like, well, no, I guess what you're saying that he's trying to say that the drug's not to blame at all, right?
No. All I'm saying is that I agree with that drugs are just drugs. They're just chemicals. There's no positive or negative, good or evil.
I got a little confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there's also this idea that like, hey, you know, like, I don't know, there's just like I learned this, I've been thinking about this with Jordan Peterson too. There's almost like this weird, like, emotional intelligence that you lose when you get really fucking smart. You lose this weird, I don't know, connection to emotion and this empathy that you lose that I think is very important. And it's like, when you look at things too analytically, you lose sight of certain, like, emotional aspects of everything you're looking at. And it's like, this book is important, but I think it's also important to read, you know, other books or be interested in other stories where, you know, motherfuckers die and how dark things can get to have the full scope of it all. And I don't know. I just think it's it's interesting, but it's not the full, to me, it's not what I fully believe. Picture. Yeah. Like I think what he's saying is important, but it's also, there's other things that are also important in the full scope of drugs and stuff like that, I guess.
No. I understand you now. I got a little confused, but no, exactly. Like I agree with that point in the book too. I like that it is literally a drug at the end of the day. I mean, we use this word drug, but it's the same thing as drinking your fucking caffeine in the morning. It's the same thing as drinking your alcohol at night. You know, it's literally just something you're put into your body, and you know, and then from there it interacts because, like, you know, you've seen it. I mean, we've seen it with acid. And some people like us, you can have a great fucking time, see the most amazing things, and love it. You give somebody else acid, it's a terrible time, and it's not because maybe necessarily they're a bad person or worse than us or even stupider than us. Some people literally just drugs aren't for everybody, which I feel like he kind of mentions in the beginning, but then I could see what you're saying. As the book goes along, I feel like that fact kind of gets lost. And I kind of wish, too, he would have gone more into the distinction of what healthy drug use is versus addiction. He does touch on it, like what an addict is like classified as. Yeah. But I feel like he doesn't get into either like because for him, it seems like he has a healthy grip on it. So he doesn't understand the normal grip, like for you and me. Like even I see it with weed sometimes, you know, I go through periods where it's the most amazing thing and it helps my life and makes it amazing. And most of the time it does. And then I go through periods where it makes me extremely lazy, extremely lethargic. I don't get much done. And then if I stop smoking, then all of a sudden I'm fucking anxious and shit. So it's like, yeah, I do agree because at the end of the day, a drug is just a drug. But that being said, you still, like you said, humans are humans and there's still negative effects. Nobody's perfect. And yes, maybe Carl can do these and get these pure drugs and do these in these great settings and have a grip on his life, but not everybody can. And it would have been nice if he could have gone into that more because I could see people picking this up. Like the guy that interviewed him was kind of felt like you're just saying that heroin's good and that anybody should do it. And like the guy was like, I disagree. Like I've seen it destroy people. You know?
I don't necessarily think that he's trying to say like there needs to be a utopia where everybody is doing drugs. I recommend it for everybody. I don't think that that's what he's saying, but you know, I think that when you look at the book, you look at the title and you discuss the ideas, that, you know, the idea that it pushes, I guess, is that, you know, that drugs should be something that we don't judge each other about, and that we move forward with, you know, intellectually without judgment, and to truly learn the benefits and do things responsibly moving forward. I think that is important. And I think that is a really, really strong thing going forward as far as drugs go, you know, in life, in America, whatever, that lesson is very important. You know what I mean? But it's also important to understand that and really dive into the dark parts of shit. That's why I really like trip stories, is because like you get into the deepest, darkest parts of experiences, and it's like you learn a lot there as well. You know what I'm saying? And seeing how things can go wrong or whatever the case may be, not just bad trips, but just like how addiction can transform and how it can transfer along bloodlines, even through families and shit like that, like through fucking communities. Like it's fucking, there's definitely something there. So that's like, that's mostly what I was saying, not to necessarily like try to push back on any ideas he had. But yeah, like you said, towards the end of the book, it did feel like there was a bit of that fat that was trimmed off, and it did feel a little like, it got a little, I don't know, like a little more anecdotal than scientific in a way, I guess, and which was definitely still interesting. You know, it was interesting to see the opinion of a professor, a black professor who's gone through these, you know, a lot of, you know, that perspective is particular. Who does heroin recreationally, like that's super particular. That opinion, I feel like the book might have lent to the book to be a little bit more anecdotal towards the end, in a way.
No, no. The book is, I love the book. You know, I did really enjoy it. Like every chapter, I enjoyed.
Same.
But yeah, it does get very anecdotal towards the end compared to how scientific it is the first couple chapters. You know, but the anecdotes are good. And so, like you were saying, like with him, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost. I don't know why I'm getting so lost today. But fucking no. What? No, I didn't even really barely hit it, you know? So
That's me.
But yeah, no, I think it might be both of us, bro. But yeah, no, I don't think. So I guess I should rephrase that too. I don't think there was any point where he was actively saying everybody should do drugs. Like I feel like he makes it apparent in the beginning. I just feel like you said, the point kind of gets lost along the way as it gets more into anecdotes. I feel like towards the end, I was getting more of the idea that maybe I should try these things, you know? And in the beginning, I felt like he does. But I mean, that makes sense. You know, in the beginning, I'm going to give you my warning. But the book is essentially supposed to show us the positive drugs. Yeah. And earlier, what we were talking about, how like there's the dark side and the trauma and the things that destroy people. So what do you think? Because I feel like this is part of one of the things he's talking about that needs to change. So what do you think, though, what would happen if it did become legal and it wasn't, and it didn't carry the stigma? Do you think if these drugs didn't carry the stigma to begin with, that it would lead? I mean, obviously, drugs interacting with your body, sometimes you're going to have a bad time, just like with alcohol, you could have an adverse reaction to peanuts, whatever, you know? So like, yes, there's the physical reactions, but I feel like the real dark, at least for me, the dark shit that comes from drugs is when people are completely destroyed by them, destroy their lives, go to such lengths that they would steal for drugs or do this for drugs. So do you think if the stigma was off and they were legal, that it would get as dark? I mean, it probably could for some people, but do you think there would be as great of a percentage where it ends up being bad if there was no stigma? Because like right now, yes, there's a lot of people who would be considered alcoholics. There's even people I know who drink a lot, but I wouldn't consider them alcoholic because they're functioning and blah, blah, blah. So they don't consider themselves that way. And because they don't consider themselves that way, they go about their normal lives. They just drink after work, even if it is every day. Yeah. But if it was the same thing, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of heroin or a little bit of coke every day after work. The same, because of the stigma around it. If you told me that, I'd be like, Mike, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing heroin every day after work, bro? Have a beer. And it's like, but what's the difference? Like if we remove that stigma from the heroin, then does that decrease the chance of there being all these horror stories? Like, of course, there's still going to be some, because no matter what, nothing's perfect. But do you think that would, I think, at least from reading the book, that would greatly decrease the number of horror stories you hear where whole people's lives are destroyed if these drugs were legal and if they weren't looked down upon? If I could go and tell my mom, hey mom, I did this drug. I mean, like, obviously I'm older now and I feel like you and me probably could have these conversations with your parents, but the normal person couldn't, you know?
I literally did. I was literally one of the first people to ever make YouTube videos about drugs ever. Like literally ever, like, you know, so it's like I which is like one thing I wanted to talk about in a sense, like, you know, but just to answer your question, I do think that legalization would decrease the amount of horror stories, but I don't know by how much. I've thought about that but I know it would be by a significant amount. But I do feel like human beings would abuse drugs no matter what, and they will no matter what. And I kind of think that a lot of the ideas that people have when it comes to like legalizing drugs or decriminalizing them federally, whatever the fuck, is that all of a sudden that it's going to solve, you know, addiction, and it's going to solve all these issues, when really it's going to decrease them. But because human beings are human beings, there's always going to be addiction and people abusing things that bring them joy, because life fucking sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's natural. It just is what it is. So it's like, maybe that's just me speaking, but I feel like in a way, when people talk about that idea, this idea of this utopia where it's just going to decrease that shit, you know, it's kind of in the back of your head, and kind of was for me. But now as I'm getting older, I'm trying to understand, it's going to be there. But yeah, it is super important to decrease the likelihood of people overdose or getting tainted drugs, and making sure that their dosages are right and that their health is okay to do that if that's what they want to do, in a smart way. Mm-hmm. So, the metaphor I used when I was talking to my mom and them at the campfire was it's kind of like safe sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want you to be out there fucking, but they'll give you you can go down the street and get a bag full of condoms for free. You know what I'm saying? It's a very similar thing. It should be like that. But it's going to take a long fucking time because of the roots of racism and because of all the fucking prejudices that they've had, and there is a lot there that it's literally built in the systems of our country, and it's gonna and they're specifically set up a certain way that it's going to take a long time to fix everything. But 20 years from now, the landscape of drugs are going to be completely different, dude. And I'm just like, I'm so excited. I'm like, it's wild. It's wild. And then we're going to have fucking aliens too.
Oh, aliens for sure. They're coming. No, but, yeah, dude, like, fuck, I lost my fucking train of thought again. It's pissing me off. Oh no. Okay. What you were saying
aliens.
About aliens. No. What you were saying about how it's like it rooted in the system. I did like that he brought up like opium dens, and how like opium was soldiers used it all the time. But the second there were Chinese or I think it's Chinese or Japanese. Yeah, Chinese. The second there were Chinese opium dens over here, and like, they found out Americans are going to do it, then all of a sudden, and obviously they're gonna disguise it as we don't want our citizens to do it, but it becomes almost a racism thing. Like this, it was tolerable until a certain people started doing it, and now it's not tolerable anymore. Yeah. Or just like with he didn't really bring this up. I don't think he did, but I read it somewhere not that long ago. I don't remember what we're reading. It actually might have been in the fucking book we read.
The Bible?
The one we did about psychedelics.
Immortality Key.
Yeah, the Immortality Key, about how like psychedelics, they weren't outlawed until they found out that all these Indian tribes were doing these psychedelics and doing these things, and all of a sudden it became outlawed. And he talks a lot about the African American side of it, which there's plenty of shit with the crack epidemic, all this shit, even today, I like how he talks about like literally the opiates today, which I thought was really good, because it's true. Opiates have been a problem for a long time. The reason they're big now is because now you have a large number of white young teenagers dying, and it is true, like this has brought it to the forefront. It's always been an issue, but now it's a big issue. It's just like what Eminem talked about back in the day. There were school shootings all the time in these poor neighborhoods, but now that it's in middle America, now it's a fucking issue. Now that it's like now it's right next to home, and it's not just that poor neighborhood down the street. Now it's an issue, and it's like that's stupid. Like we should always be concerned with it, because we should be concerned for the well-being of all humans. And like you said, with sex, you shouldn't be fucking around with everybody and putting your dick in everything
when you're 15.
But also,
16.
here's some. Even when you're older, it's like here's a bunch of condoms though, still, because we know you're still probably gonna do it. So at least you can be safe if you choose to be. And like you said, that's how it should be with drugs. Maybe it shouldn't be, oh my God, try the new heroin, everybody do this. But it should be, here's drug testing kits, here's clean needles. We still don't think you should do drugs, but if you're going to, this stuff is here, please use it. Yeah. That should be the policy, like, okay, yes.
And it is like that in a lot of places, yeah.
I know. I was tripping out about Barcelona. I didn't know in Spain that drugs have been decriminalized since 1972, and I was like, damn, like, because
I had no idea either.
You don't hear
that's my motherland too.
I hear stories, and every time I hear stories about Spain, it sounds like an amazing place. You don't hear like, I mean, there probably are bad parts of it, but like, it's not like you hear about like, oh my God, it's just drug city. But then I like how he said in the book, it is considered a big capital of drugs, and I was like, I never knew this.
Yeah, me neither. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I definitely want to travel to some places. This one thing that I really enjoyed reading about is like a lot of the different places he went, which were interesting. But to go back a little bit, one thing, it's like the more shit I read about and the more documentaries I've made and all the research I've done, it seems so simple, like why drugs are not legal and why it's going to be such a long road for them to become legal and for the stigma in our country to be changed. And it's simply because powerful men realized that drugs were something that caused the non-powerful men to be unpredictable. And when you see that, the powerful men control the drugs and use them to control the unpowerful. And that's, I don't want to shape it into anything, but it was, whatever. It just, that's it, when it comes down to it, that's really what it is, because we are so broken as human beings, and evil always prevails, or not always, but fucking power. It's fucking power is evil and takes over. So that's what the simple way to look at it. That's all it is. And it's the people, they've made too much money off of it. And now I do feel like they can't do that anymore, because the internet is forcing that evil to be like destroyed in many different types of ways, because you can't hide anymore, So I think, but at the same time, it's going to take a long fucking time. But I don't know. I just thought, so it's kind of like the way that you would use sugar with your children. It's like, like if you give them too much sugar, they're going to be bouncing off the fucking walls, and they're going to be wild, and you're going to be like, so you're like, hey, don't eat that shit. You have that fucking cupcake, then you have to do this, and this, and you can only have one cupcake. You know what I'm saying? It's a hilarious metaphor that I just thought of right now.
No, dude, it's like we read about that in Mind Control too. The first book we did about, or Chaos, sorry, Mind Control. Yeah, but that's shouting us out. But in Chaos, that's what I think he talked about. What the dude from the FBI, or that's what they were concerned about with acid. It was like, oh shit, now we have these people. This drug is making them unpredictable, and kind of up until that point, at least Middle America and all that was very. You think about the 50s, you think about these families that are put together for, dad, mom, kids, dad works, mom stays at home. And not that psychedelics change this, and not that it wouldn't have changed without psychedelics, but psychedelics kind of put it under the nose, like, oh shit, now we have a group of people that aren't conforming to what we want them to conform to. And I definitely agree. I think there is a big degree of it. I mean, I also think what Carl says, there's a big degree of it that is deeply rooted in racism, especially in America's drug laws, like the crack versus cocaine law. Like there's a lot of like racism that's like rooted into that. But then it also, I totally agree, it's a fucking power thing, because it's like, that's why I feel like he was saying with this book, like there are so many people that are in power that would probably tell you to your face, don't do drugs, but go home and do some cocaine, or go home and do something, And it's like, it has become a power thing. It becomes like, okay, we don't want you to do it because we know how it makes you. It makes you not susceptible to all of our bullshit, And I feel like I feel like both play a degree to it. And that's why the drug laws are so stupid. It's like, there's literally nothing to justify most of the drug laws in America that don't end up sounding dumb when you really get into them. Because one, if you did legalize drugs, I mean, not that we should be concerned with this, but the amount of money it would bring into states is just ridiculous. Marijuana alone brought in so much. If everything was legal, it would just be ridiculous amounts of extra money for them. So that's a positive for them. But so like, I don't understand why other than the racism and the power thing, these other rules exist, because it does not make sense to tell people not to put them in their body, and instead of just give them things to test it. Or no,
I think they probably earn way more money by having all these people in jail and having all these excuses to like fucking check do all these different things that they do. It's like within the what's the word
confines of the law. I don't know.
Yeah, like the law, like they make more money with drugs because of the excuses and things that it gives them in that sense, and jails and things like that.
You talked about that, right? About how in I forgot what states, but certain states where marijuana's illegal still, that is like one thing that has been like literally proven that it is used as a method to search people even if they don't smell weed, because it's an easy thing for a cop to be like, oh well, I smelled weed in the car so I had to check him, and we ended up finding crack, no weed though. And it becomes like, okay, so at this point then you can just pick it out, because if you go to court, most times, like he said, a judge isn't going to fucking say that the cop lied, and the cop's not going to admit that he didn't smell anything. And it's like these things they become used as a means to get away with more, or to bring money. There's actually a really good documentary that's narrated by Brad Pitt that you should check out. Everybody should check it out. I watched it a long time ago. It's called The House I Live In. And it's all about
private prison system and like what you were saying, and about how so many of a lot of these stupid rules, especially drug laws, is what they talked about. It was made a while ago. Especially drug laws are used because it's a source of income. And the private prisons, he says it in the book too. You go to a city where a private prison, if a private prison pops up in a city, all of a sudden you have restaurants that the family members of these prison inmates end up eating at, hotels they have to stay at. And then this prison, they bring in so much money, because the house I live in is all a documentary about how that we should do away with for-profit prisons, that there's no reason that people should be making money the more people you have in prison, because that's how it works. Like the more inmates, the more money you get.
More
and
money they get.
And what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to go arrest more people then.
Check this out.
It's like, what the fuck?
I'm about to fix the drug problem and homelessness. Okay?
All right, good.
At the same time.
All
You
right, good.
legalize drugs federally. Boom. Okay? Then you release every drug offense and nonviolent offender from every single jail and prison in the country. You turn most of those prisons, because they're not going to be, you retrofit them out to be like apartment complexes. Take the bars off, you put the homeless in the old jails. Now they're not homeless, and people ain't in jail because of drugs. Boom.
Boom. Boom. Roasted.
I tried to tweet that the other day, but I couldn't word it right, and it came out weird. So I was like,
no, that's actually a really smart idea. Because I mean, consider like the homelessness, and then consider the fact that, like, I mean, shit, this is a stupid example, but like in 8 Mile, remember in 8 Mile, they go burn down the abandoned house because of the abandoned house, and it's like literally, dude, like you go to. It doesn't make sense. Like, dude, if nobody's going to take care of these houses and they're going to left abandoned, then maybe we should. If there's a whole neighborhood of abandoned houses, let the homeless people have them. If you're not going to do anything with them, like, what the fuck's the point?
Have you seen the So Sick music video? You were there when we shot it, huh? When I shot it, the So Sick is saying, I'm so sick of saying, I'm so sick.
Oh, yeah. Where was it at?
Isn't that in the abandoned place? Remember me and Timmy, wait, were you there with us when you did it? It might have been Danny.
I think so. Is it in it's out where you guys live, right?
Yeah, that like abandoned place with all those rooms.
Hospital and shit.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of apartments there that are totally abandoned that they don't allow people to live in. And I wonder how much it would cost to like retrofit that out and put all the fucking homeless in Victorville just in there. And I'm sure that there's a lot of places like that that are just completely abandoned. And it's like,
and it's stupid. It's all because they're private property, So
it's probably because they don't make no money off of it. And then they'd have to take care of it, and it would just cost money to I don't know, who knows. But homelessness is a whole nother thing, but it kind of connects with drug usage, which is wild.
No, it does. I mean, like, that's what he was saying too. Like, people, like, we want to blame the drug because we don't want to look at the problem that there's all these people living on the street. If they actually had a house to do drugs at, not to say that would make it any better, probably wouldn't make it fully better, but probably be better than them being out on the streets doing the same drugs, And it's like, instead of looking at homelessness, it's much easier to say, oh, crack did it. Crack's the reason they're homeless. When it's like, I don't know, they might have already been homeless, and because they're homeless, got into crack, because fuck, if I was living on the streets and I had no Frankie, no Paul, I had nothing to my name, no family, and somebody offered me some fucking hard drugs, like, I'd be like, hell yeah, like, this is fucking hell that I'm living in. What can be worse,
There were so many just like different ways I could have been into so many different drugs. I tried. When you did that, it just looked a little
smoking my heroin, bro.
But fucking, so yeah, it's like if I would have made two different steps in high school, I could have easily been into drugs or into different types of drugs. Like I remember multiple times where I've gotten into into things with cops or whatever on drugs, and I explained to them I'm on ecstasy or whatever, and they don't believe me. They're like, "No, you're tweaking, man. You're tweaking." Like I've had cops legitimately like not believe me that. And then when they say that, I'm like, "Nah, what the fuck?" It's kind of weird that they even say that, but it kind of shows how often that happens. But
yeah,
it's super interesting to even consider that, like even what I just said right now, like I was tweaking. I was on ecstasy, like I was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like he did, but he's like, no, you're not on ecstasy. You're tweaking. No. Well, yeah, but no. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like it's weird. It's interesting.
I mean, like he said, bro, the number one fucking problem with drugs, and I feel like there's no way to argue it after reading this book. Like, obviously there's other issues with drugs too, but the number one problem is fucking ignorance on both sides. Ignorance of the people taking them, ignorance of the people prosecuting people for them that know nothing about them. Like, so many cops know nothing about the actual effects of drugs. And if you are to take all of your knowledge from movies, TV shows, and the public service that they give you regarding drugs in America, yeah, I would think they were the worst fucking thing in the world either, too. I remember back in high school, weed, we would talk shit. And in my mind, I was like, what a fucking loser. Like, you're
because
boring,
we were so
like,
ignorant to it, we were afraid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like ignorance breeds fear. And it's like ignorance is a problem on both sides of the equation. Ignorant people get killed by drugs or don't know what they're doing. Ignorant people sell drugs because they don't know what they're selling. Ignorant people persecute people for drugs. Ignorant people all the time judge people for drugs when they don't know anything about what they're going through, what the drug does a lot of time, because a lot of people don't even, and it's just like, obviously I never done crack. I've never done. I mean, I guess I've done.
Yeah,
coke,
you have.
so
You've done crack.
Yeah, so I guess I have. I just have never smoked it. So
that's really the main difference.
Yeah.
But if I pulled out a little pipe one night, oh no, I wonder how that would go. What if one night we were all doing coke and I just like, hey,
you were. What's funny is you were gonna say, "What if I pulled out a pipe?" Then you would change, but I'd be like, "Nah, bro, let me hit it real quick."
No, if I said, I was gonna say, well, if I did, then maybe would you do it? And I was I was thinking that everyone would say yes, but now, but I think about it, I really pictured it like, I don't know, that might freak people out. That would freak me out if one of you guys pulled out a fucking crack pipe.
I'm ready. Now, honestly, I will say, dude. I mean, I'm not gonna compare myself to him because obviously I'm like. I'm not no fucking professor. I work at a fucking high school and shit. But dude, like, honestly, reading this book, I won't lie. I never really bring it up to you much because like I don't want everyone to be a bitch. But like when we first started this podcast, Mind Control, like in the beginning, I remember the first couple episodes me thinking like, shit, like should I be saying some of these things about my drug use on these videos? And then I think about old videos where I say it and I thought, like, man, like I work at a school. And honestly, I've always thought this. But then reading this book, honestly, changed my mind completely. Like, I wouldn't go into my class and tell everybody there I work with. But if I was in a social situation and I was asked, like, about like certain things, like I feel like, I probably wouldn't lie anymore either. I'd be like, because it is true. Like, us, you, me, or you don't because you're pretty open with it. But, even me, like at my school setting, I'm obviously not this fucking guy. And like, like I know like Frankie goes to her hospital. She's not fucking, going in there doing coke and shit and partying and shit, So it's like there are a lot of us who do unintentionally because obviously I'm on here talking about it. But like, I do hide it. Like they're adults that I hide it from. I mean, only at work. Like, I mean, honestly, if I seen anybody else on the street, fuck them. But at work, but I see that even now. That is a problem, It is out of fear of losing a job. Though.
That's what I'm saying. Right. It's self. But that's what's the word? It's like taking care of yourself. That's all it is. That's mostly what it is. It's like you wouldn't give a fuck if
fear,
It shouldn't be a fear, but it is but it's
self-preservation
is what it is.
True.
It's not. You're right. You wouldn't give if you knew you weren't going to lose your job. I don't think that you would actually be nervous to tell certain people certain things about drug use.
No, you're right. You're right because I've been at parties where you talk to somebody you don't know, and sometimes you don't know if they've done the same things, but because it's a party setting, like I'd be like, oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I would definitely not be like all like wildly. It wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, I would because I have respect for the drugs and the experience of it. I would treat it in a sense like if you start being like, oh yeah, I did cocaine last night, or I did what the fuck ever. It's kind of like saying, hey, I fucking blew my wife last night, or what the fuck, blew my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's a personal thing, so it's not maybe the first thing you would talk about, which is okay. Yeah. But I don't know. One thing I did that was really interesting. Or that one thing that I learned or I liked, it made me feel good is that like I have been extremely fucking open with my drug use for years and years and years. The first video I ever made on my YouTube channel was about ecstasy. Like we're just talking about how it made me feel and all this other different shit. Like that's literally what I've been doing for years and years and years. And honestly, I thought about this really a lot with the book and then even into the little peep stuff, but like No, I started doing it all because I just wanted to be cool. I wanted to be liked. It has a lot to do with drugs, has a lot to do with rap, YouTube, all of that. It's just, I wanted people to think I was liked. I wanted to have friends. That's all it really was when it came down to it. And that's okay. But I really did enjoy aspects of everything that I did. I'd learned that I really enjoyed things. One thing that I started to really have a good value in was in drugs and psychedelics and seeing the benefits of that. You know what I'm saying? And I perpetuated it a little bit in YouTube, and I, did clickbait, and I fucking, might have pushed things I didn't really believe that hard or whatever the fuck, or colored up a story or whatever the fuck. So it kind of started with, I would say, like, not malicious, but not the most positive intent when it came to my drug use and my belief in drugs, right? So in the last few weeks, I've considered, like, damn, am I really in a good place? Am I really happy with drugs? Do I truly believe in them? Is this truly who I am? Am I really that little boy who grew up that way? Like, that's what I want to find out lately, is who I really am, the man I am. And it's like, yeah, I do believe. Drugs. Without drugs, just, yeah, exactly. Is drugs not necessarily, I know it's not who I am, but is it truly a value I actually have as the man? And it's like, I've already learned that absolutely my family is a great value. And in the last few weeks, months, I've learned that psychedelics are also a great value I have. Do I do them all the time or whatever? No. But do I believe in their use, and will I continue to be a proponent for it? Absolutely. And in a sense, it's like, I don't know. It's interesting that, like, I don't know, that I may have started doing it all from weird intentions, but like it got to a place that was positive. And it's like, I think a lot of what's held me back in life is like things that start with bad intentions, or not the best intentions, can still mold and be something that you do with good intentions, and that's okay. And you need and maybe just keep going with it and quit worrying about it. So it's like, this book really kind of taught me that, and a lot of the other stuff we've been doing recently.
No, I like that idea too. That because dude, I feel similar. Like, obviously, I wasn't making YouTube videos and like open on the level that you were open. But I remember when we first started doing drugs. Obviously, I liked them for what it was. Like, ecstasy was like the first real hard thing I had done besides like weed, and actually no, mushrooms was, and then, it kind of, but I don't know. I still carry that bias in the book. I still don't find mushrooms a hard drug. Like, I wouldn't say it's a hard drug at all, It's
what's a hard drug?
I guess none of them are. Yeah, none of them are, I guess.
So what's a hard drug?
Yeah. But
it's interesting. Breaks a lot of molds of discussion.
But when I started doing them, though, I did like them for what they made me feel and the way, but I would find myself at times, and like, I look back at it now, and like, I feel like it's kind of cringy, but I would meet people, and like, I would try to steer the conversation to see if maybe they did drugs, because I wanted to talk about drugs, because in a way, for me at the time, the drugs felt like
your identity?
a value, like a value, yes, like an identity and like a value in themselves. But now, as we got older, like you said, I don't see anything wrong with drugs, but now I see that there's no value in being a cocaine user or a acid user. There is a value. There is a way, though, to use these things to get value in other parts of your life and figure out what your values are, and you can use them. And I feel like when I was younger, and I feel like a lot of young people do this. Like, it's like what we talked about when you first start smoking weed. It's like, oh, Cheech and Chong, oh this, oh that, oh everything weed, oh blah blah blah. I want everything this, and then and it almost becomes like
your identity.
At least when I look back on it, it becomes like an identity and like a actual value. Like you said, your family is a value. Like, that's a value. Drugs are not a value, but you can use drugs to find value or to seek value.
To enhance the values you already have.
Yeah, yes, exactly. You like he does in the book. Exactly. You can do mushrooms with your wife. Yeah. You can do you can enhance a bond with somebody. You can do things with these drugs, but it gets convoluted when you start to think that's the drug is the end all. Yeah, it's not. And like, honestly, too,
that's smart ass thing to come to terms with, or to understand, to say, Corey.
I mean, I feel like I'm still not at it, but like, I do notice now. Like, now, like, I'm more not hesitant, but like, I'm not in any hurry to tell somebody I do drugs unless they're trying to talk about it. But when I was younger, they were such a big part in my life, and they still are in certain aspects. But they were such a big part in my life that that is all I kind of wanted to talk about. I wanted to steer conversations towards this. I wanted to know who was doing drugs, because in my mind at that time, if you were doing drugs, I'd probably like you better than the person who's not doing drugs. But now that I'm older, I realize that's certainly not true. I met people who do drugs who I fucking hate, and I met people who don't do any drugs who I think, man, I wish I was like them. If I never that's cool. Like, I like that you have that mind state without doing them. And it took some while to realize, because I feel like, especially if you have positive experiences on drugs, it does become hard to entangle what is the drug and what is you and what is the experience. And it's like the drug is just a key, and it's not the experience. It's just the key that's unlocking what's in your mind already. You know,
when you adopt drugs as like a value or something like that, it gets very convoluted and confusing. And when you really start to figure out who you are, I feel like if your values are fucking video games, I liked video games until I was 17, and then I started playing basketball. Like, it's like if video games, basketball, and fucking your girlfriend are the three major values you've had until your late 20s, that is a little bit. Maybe this is a fucking controversial thing to say, but that is a little bit easier on your mental on you mentally to deal with, you know, positively and psychologically, I guess. In my opinion, because drugs, it's like you not only are you placing value in them and they're becoming because it's a cultural thing. You know, drugs, you go on the internet and you have YouTube channels you subscribe to and podcasts you listen to or whatever the fuck, and you go on Reddit and it becomes a community. It's a tribal thing that we get. But when that tribalism that's natural gets convoluted and confused and mixed with actual mind altering drugs, it can get very confusing. It's trying to figure out, oh, that's actually me, or is that just me when I'm high, or is that me when I'm about to be high, or is this because that's the interesting thing. And you know what the most intense version of this is for me is weed. It's like, to understanding myself and who I truly am, that what confuses me the most is weed. It's like, I know lots of things about myself, but like, I still struggle with, damn, am I still am I truly the man I believe I am, or am I just this person because I smoke weed consistently, you know? But so I think it gets very confusing when a value you have as a young man or a woman is drugs. And especially as psychedelic ones. And I think we're super fucking lucky to be here intellectually talking on a podcast about, you know, that we're not in fucking some sort of learning disability program. And, you know, who knows what the fuck else has gone on with people we've come into contact with at raves. Where do you think Sabs is at right now? You think Sabs is...
I don't know, bro. I
don't know. The fuck is Sabs?
I remember where he was at when we knew him. So
he's probably still...
He's on the moon, baby.
He's still wandering around some fucking rave looking for us.
But I like that conversation because I've thought about that when me and Frankie watch a lot of like sports documentaries and shit, even though it's weird. I don't really watch too many sports, but like the sports documentaries we're fucking all about over here. So we watch a lot, and you watch a lot of them, and most of the time when you're watching these sports documentaries, they're young kids. They're fucking 19, 20, 21 just starting out, you know?
Yeah.
And it is, like you said, like when your value is just and not just sports, so it's not just confined to that. It's just because you use the metaphor as well, but like when your life is sports and your girlfriend and maybe your job or whatever, you still, as you grow up, need to figure out who you are. And I think, and like you said, maybe it is comfortable, but I would agree. I think that it would be easier if you didn't do drugs to figure out who you were later on, just because you've been one way your entire life in a way, versus
because
for me, and I know for you, when I did drugs, from the second I smoked weed, the day before I'd ever gotten high, I was a completely different person the day after I got high, and it never went back. And the same thing happened once I did mushrooms for the first time. The person I was the day before I did those mushrooms was not the person I ever was again. Even if it was slight, it was
so scary for people to hear that who don't do drugs. That they're like, what? That scares the fuck. I've never even say that. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You say that means nothing. In a good way, though. If that doesn't help.
But you know what I'm saying. Though.
I do, but I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like in a positive way. Because I mean, for me, the first time I ever did mushrooms, the one thing that hit me the most was that I, until that point in my life, had never realized, or I guess stopped and took a second to look at so many of the things that I stressed about in my life, especially at that point, being so young, were so fucking stupid. Yeah. And it's like, that was the first thing that made me realize that, you know, and it hit me different. I mean, obviously it wears off. So like, you know, and I get stressed about the same things again, but like those moments really do. That's what I mean. Like where it changed me forever. It gave me a moment that I don't think, given my anxiety and like, I guess, I wouldn't say depression, but borderline melancholy roller coaster that I've been on my whole life. I don't think I would have ever gotten.
It's just like this really sad melancholy roller coaster feeling I've had since I was young. It's not depression.
And I'm crashing towards the earth all the time. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, given that I would have ever come to the conclusion about a lot of the things that I did come to the conclusion without certain drugs. Like certain drugs, yeah, I probably honestly, most of them were cool, but you know, so but like, and like I let me go back because like you said, I don't want to scare nobody. What I mean is that it's just like it changes, you know, it's a change that it's a change in personality that you just. I mean, you can find it in other places probably, but it's very abrupt. You can do it just one day.
It's in the sense that like this, when you jump out of an airplane and you come back down to it and you touch the ground, you're never the same person at the same time. That's the same thing.
It's almost, you realize that, oh my God, like the way I was viewing the world.
Your frame of reference is absolutely different. Your frame of reference.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a better thing. It made me realize for the first time that my point of view was not the only point of view. Yeah. That, oh my God, there are much different ways to look at a lot of the things that I look at my way that can be looked at from a completely different perspective.
It's like when you fly into like and you look at the city you're constantly driving around in, but you see it from the plane. It's kind of like how you never really. It's kind of different. You know, you have a different frame of reference.
Perfect. And then is like I going into like what you were saying though, like I would agree though now later in life though, which is gonna make it sound scary. Later in life, I do think with the weed thing, for me, I feel the same way. It went in October when I did take that 2-week break. I remember I had told you just how amazing I felt because like literally before that October, it had been like maybe 9 years since I took a legit break that was longer than 2 days, you know, and like. It was crazy. Like I wouldn't say I was a completely different person, but I would say like there were so many positives that I just completely forgot I existed because I'm just high all the time because I'm smoking weed literally pretty much constantly, or at least I'm kind of high or coming down from weed, and it's been like that for so long that I'm not gonna lie, I want to stop again actually, which is funny.
Same.
This book had the opposite effect on me. Not the opposite, because I don't think he was trying to get people to do drugs to begin with, but it had the effect on me when I read it and thinking about the way he was talking about certain things and the way he would do certain things. I was thinking, man, maybe what I really need is a long break from any type of substance to figure out who I am, and once I start doing that, then I could start introducing these substances into my life into a more mature way now that I've figured out who I am. Because even right now, I'm still a little lost in all of it. So if I could pull myself back, mature myself, figure out who I am, then I could slowly introduce weed here, weed there, maybe cocaine here, cocaine there, ecstasy or something.
I think that, and I'm totally seeing what you're saying. But I do think that, in my opinion, in my perspective, and in what I've seen in myself, I have made the decision that I want to be sober completely and figure out who I am, so I can start to. I did that exact thing, and I did do that, and that's when I was like, I tried to stop drinking, and I didn't do much, and I was like, but what I realized was it was impossible for me to figure out who I was before I dealt with the demons and shit that I was dealing with. And it was almost like I realized that it was damn near impossible, or even like not even the right move to try to deal with those demons without some of those substances in a way. So that's kind of what I've learned is that like sometimes, I don't know, for me. So now like as I started dealing with the demons in the old house, which was like maybe like a year ago, I started, a lot of shit was like, I needed to smoke at certain times. I needed to have a drink here and there. And that's because but I learned that after doing 30 days, no alcohol. And then like all this other shit. I like, damn. Yeah. So hearing exactly what you said totally reminded me of that. But
well, no, dude, that's what I mean. Like what that realization, that's what I want to come to. I want to come to this. Okay, I'm living sober, but every once in a while, yeah, I'm gonna have a bad fucking day, and I'm gonna want to go home, and I'm gonna want to smoke a bowl, and I'm gonna want to drink. But I want to. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to take this long break so I can get myself to that point. Because as it stands right now, if I took a break, let's just say I took like a 2-week break or whatever, and then I had a really bad day, chances are, yeah, maybe I'll go home and I'll smoke that night. But guess what? I'm probably going to smoke the whole rest of the week too. And, every day I'm probably going to just keep going,
I feel
like, that's why I want to step back for a while. So then I can introduce, because I do agree. Like, it's just like he says in the book, fucking life sucks, dude. Life, even people who have good lives, it's bound to suck a lot. And there's a lot of shitty things that happen.
Yeah.
And,
no matter how good your life is, your family's going to die.
Yeah, and it's like there should be things to take the edge off. It's just like, but for me, sometimes, I find I shouldn't though be at the point where I'm at now, where I, like before we started this podcast, that's why I took a little hit, because I got home from everything I had to do today, and I felt fucking just stressed the fuck out for no reason. And it's because every other morning this week, first thing I do when I wake up is smoke. This morning I decided I wasn't because I was like, you know what, I'm going to just see. And then the second I got home though, I was like, if I'm going to do the podcast, I need to at least hit it, because like I feel like just all over the place. And it's like, I want to get out of that. I that's how I was in October. And then I stopped in the 3 days. It was like that. But then after, I felt amazing. And this is not to talk shit on weed. I think weed's amazing. I think I think I have an addictive personality, and I tend to abuse it in ways that I shouldn't, and that's my problem. But I think if you have a firm grasp on it, I think marijuana is probably,
I don't think you have an addictive personality. I don't think you have an addictive personality. Because if you did, you'd be. I don't know.
Once I start, it's hard for me to stop. You know what I mean? I feel like you're the same way. It's hard, and I want to get to a point where
it's not hard for you to stop. I feel
and I can stop if I want. And it's not a big deal. And that's not just with weed, because weed. I mean, I love weed still, dude. It's forever. Yeah. Even when I stopped smoking in October, like every time Frankie would smoke, I would be like, man, like, it's just, I miss it so much. Like, I didn't want to do it. Like, I felt like the desire was gone for that brief amount of time, but I still had such a love for it. I was like, man, I just want to be around it. Like, just hit it by me. Like, let me just smell it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, so like, I think, I just don't want it to come off as me talking shit about weed.
No, I don't. I know what you're saying. And I've actually been in a very similar place where I've been considering like taking a break from everything and considering like what that does for me, socially, in my job and stuff like that, and because I've stopped drinking for like over a month before, because I stopped, and I didn't smoke for a couple weeks, a week, I think 10 days. And I know what it is. But it's like, I don't know. I guess right now where I'm at is like, I enjoy smoking weed, but I definitely am curious as to like, that puts me though, where I don't know. Yeah. Like exactly what you're saying. No. Trying to figure out what it's going to do for me without it. If there's an idea that it might be better for me right now in my life without smoking weed. My life might actually be better if I'm not, compared to when it was, what my life was before, when it was better while smoking weed. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, dude, I agree. And like, I guess want to say this too. Like, I feel like if somebody turned on the podcast, like just happened to turn it on right here, it might almost sound like we're being dramatic about it. And like, I don't want it to seem like that either. Like it's not like, I know you're not either, but it's not like either of us are trying to say like, if we stopped smoking weed, we'd be this completely better, different person. But I think it's worth noting though that like, yeah, dude, like, no matter how much you want to deny it, anything you put into your body, if you drink caffeine every day, it's going to have an effect. So it's like, sometimes you do got to figure out what you are without something, especially something that I feel like for me has been such a staple in my life for so long, and
Yeah.
It's just like, you got to figure out who you are without it. And that's not to say that the weed's bad or any of it's bad. But,
I think,
there's some value in knowing who you are when you're clear headed too,
the thoughts you're having are way more common than you think, I think, because I've made videos talking about like not wanting to smoke weed and basically expressing the thoughts you've exactly had. And they're some of my most viewed videos. Like people shit on me when I make a new video because I made that video talking about wanting to quit weed and stuff like that. And they're like, because now I smoke, people will shit on me. Like, I thought you quit. And it's like, so that opened up my channel to a whole nother thing. But yeah, no, I think that it's totally fair what you're saying. And I actually am totally in agreement. It's just that, like, I don't know, like mostly I'm curious in a sense, like how it's going to work, how not smoking weed at work is that's literally it, because I work and I'm alone the whole fucking day in my position. So it's like, I don't necessarily have to be, but I kind of choose to be. But either way, it's like, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how my trajectory of my career would go without smoking weed, because I'd be willing to bet it would get much higher, because when I smoke weed, I just get comfortable. And that's why we smoke weed. We get very comfortable where we are. It's literally just in injecting. It's like when you smoke, you're just injecting comfort, just almost like straight physical love into your body. So it's like sometimes that's not good for you. You shouldn't be fucking loved and comfortable all the fucking time. And that's why, like, sometimes think about when you're not high and you're sitting down and you're not doing anything. You're not going to sit there like you would when you smoke weed. You sit there and fucking just put a music on and be there for hours. But if you're not, you're going to be like, fuck, I got to do something. You start moving and cleaning, and you know what I'm saying? You start doing things. It's very simple. Yeah. It's very simple. It's not judgmental. If people think it's judgmental,
yeah. There's no fucking judgment. That's like all this shit. Like, I mean, I feel like, if we were sitting here judging people for the drugs, it would be like we didn't even read the fucking book. That's like,
I think
one of the biggest takeaways from that book is that you should not judge anybody for any sort of substance they put in their body, because you don't know their fucking life and it's not your fucking body. So shut the fuck up about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I agree with that, dude. Like, in I'm guilty of it. Like, like I've looked down on tweakers. I've looked down on, and like, I'm not going to say that
because most of the time they're pieces of shit. It's because most of the time,
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say my whole mind's changed on them, but now I feel like I would have a little more empathy towards the actual drug, I guess, of choice. Because sometimes I hear meth, and my immediate thought is,
that was the most interesting thing to me. Yeah, it was like the definitions of things is really fucked up, and it tends to add to a lot of the ignorance we have. The definitions, the actual facts behind certain drugs and how similar they are to other things. But like it's like a cop who's coked out doing coke in his fucking squad car, going and pulling over a dude who's on crack and talking shit to him, and actually feeling that cop really thinks he's better than him, but he's not. You know what I'm saying? Or like a dude on a cop on Adderall beating the fuck out of a tweaker, not understanding he's on the exact same drug. So it's like, it's a lot of ignorance. But like, one thing I did want to add, and maybe we'll start winding down here, is like, I grew up in Barstow, lots of fucking meth out there, and when I saw a meth head, or I think about meth, I absolutely never ever saw color in that. And I think it was kind of like a bold claim or question to ask, a weird question to ask, when I read something along the lines of, do psychonauts not, or should somehow not like promote or include crack and heroin in their culture because of race? And I read that in here, and I texted you about it, and I was like, that was a little wild. Like, so I just want to say, I would consider a psychonaut. And yes, I have looked down on crack or certain drugs in the past, but because I have legitimately seen people who were pieces of shit, and how that is not, I judged them because I was ignorant as a man, as a boy or whatever, but you can't fault people. That's so stupid. That's in a sense like some sort of like cancel culture bullshit. Like, and it's not but either way, it was never ever any sort of like a racial thing, and I never even considered this idea that like somehow the psychedelic psychonaut culture like wasn't including ethnicities. Like that's nothing further from the truth in my experience. I've seen nothing but fucking, Middle Eastern people and all different types of people at raves, all different types. And I never, ever, ever saw color or it was never an issue ever, ever. So it's like, that's weird to me that was even brought up.
Yeah. It's, I don't remember. Did he say that like in those exact words? Though?
Yeah, there was some part. I should have fucking wrote it down.
Because I remember
it was like he asked it as a question, like, psychonauts, like, could it be because of their race? And I was like, wait, what? Like,
okay, yeah, maybe I do remember that. See, because what I do remember about the psychonaut part was that I do remember him talking about like PCP 2 and heroin and like how
that was super
like,
interesting.
Yeah, like that they don't include that. Some or not even PCP, but like the ones you were saying, they don't want to include them because it's going to. I mean, what I got out of it, but he probably did word it that way because I know there is a lot of racial or things about race. But what I kind of got out of it though, which I thought was a good point, is that I thought he was more trying to say that do psychonauts or like self-prescribed psychonauts leave these drugs out though I think I'm sorry, I do remember what you're saying. I think he's saying that they leave these drugs out because they know the bad names these drugs have and that might hurt their cause, but unintentionally I think he's saying that it ends up being, which I don't agree, because like if it's unintentional then it's unintentional, but it's unintentionally becomes almost a distinction in a race thing because not as many. I mean, but like you said, there are a lot of people of every race that do psychedelics, especially now. Everybody. Yeah. But I feel like though, for most people, I think in their mind though, they have white guy does psychedelics, which isn't true though. It's not true. Like you said, it's not true. Like fucking you're Mexican. I know fucking people. I know black people. I know fucking white people, Mexican people, Asian people who've all done psychedelics. Yeah. But I feel like it is true though, at least from my understanding. If you look at traditional psychonauts or people who end up being described as psychonauts and who have big names, who are actually big names in that world, most of them are white. And I don't agree that it's a racist thing, but maybe that's what he was trying to say, that by leaving these out, you're unintentionally creating a race
exactly. I think he was drawing a distinction there and saying how like there's this culture of psychedelics and how there are drugs that do good for us and benefit us and how we're like fully behind them, but for whatever reason crack cocaine or cocaine or crack or heroin or not, or opiates or not in put into that category. And even though these drugs also have many benefits, even though these drugs have the same type of benefits in many cases as do many psychedelics, and for whatever, even though they're but because of society and the ideas that we have, we don't include those drugs in this culture of positive drug use. And I think that's totally, yes, absolutely. But it was just an interesting way that he wrote it, and I wish I probably should have fucking had it somewhere, but it was just so either way, I think that, like you said, there was a lot of race stuff in it, and I think that it did get a little, I don't want to say anything, a lot of it is race based, a lot of drug prohibition and shit like that, absolutely, 100%, and it's definitely a lot of it, but I don't know, it was some of it seemed like it was a little like I don't want to say counterintuitive, but like maybe just like, I don't know, what the fuck ever. It's just I
think I don't want us to come off the wrong way either. I think for sure it needed to be mentioned no matter what, because like when you go into laws and you go into certain drugs, there's no way you can avoid race. But it was brought. It was
like maybe overdone.
It was brought into every chapter, and I felt like, I mean, either way, I enjoyed the book a lot, but I feel like for some people, the fact that it's brought up in every chapter might be turned off to the whole idea just because of that. And I feel like that would be sad because there's a lot of good shit in here, but at the same time, he's
totally right.
And and he has points. Like, there's a lot of shit, but towards the end, I felt like, the first half, I felt like, oh man, a great point. But then towards the end, as it was in every chapter, I was like, okay. I was like, but this is almost the same point you brought up earlier, and I get it now. Maybe
I don't know. I think maybe the if the title had been different, like if it had been like, or like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? If there's like maybe a little bit more focus on, if this was like some sort of like a drug use, I don't know if there was, you know what I'm saying? Like
it was unexpected. When you read the title, it sounds like just drugs, you know, and how you should do it as an adult. But it ended up being a good amount of, you know, about how it is certain minority groups are targeted. And it is true, though. I mean, like there is a lot of truth to it. So like, yeah. But I agree, though. I agree. It gets a little, you know, at the end. But the book, though, there's just really good things, and I think it's worth reading for sure. Absolutely, like 100%. Like
the audiobook is very, very slow though, and if you listen to it, play it at 1.5 speed. That was the only way that I was able to listen to it. It went from,
he read it?
Yeah, he talks very slow, and so it was like 9.5 hours or some shit like that for the whole book. I played it at 1.5 speed, and it turned it into like 5 hours, and it sounded normal. Yeah, because he talks pretty slow, but yeah. So if you listen to it, 1.5. That's what I recommend.
1.5. All right, if I listen to it, but no, I do want to bring up too that I thought it was really interesting when he went into the story about the dude on bath salts that ate.
Yeah, I love that
guy, and then especially that there was no real evidence that there was even enough bath salts in his system, or was there even any?
That's one thing I'm going to research it, because I think I'm going to make a video on it, because that just sounded so interesting to me. But I'm pretty sure that what he said, that there was no bath salts found in his system at all.
And it was just like, and it was just like literally an assumption and then blown up in the media. And like, you see,
I never would have known. I never would have known. How crazy is that we're into drugs? We would never have known.
Dude, I know. And I remember that story was super sensationalized. And because of that story alone, I remember always thinking I would never try bath salts because of that story, you know? And then reading this, I was like, oh shit, like that just really tripped me out. I was like, okay, so it just made me think about the overall, like the shit in the media, you know? Like, man, fuck.
It's wild that reefer madness type tactics work even on us, and we don't even realize it.
It's
like this vaccine, like the vaccine, low key. Like it's kind of a very similar thing. There's a lot of scary stories out there. Bro,
I got it. So we'll see.
I mean, there's scary stories like that are bullshit. That are bullshit. Is what I'm saying. That's like fucking conspiratorial bullshit. Now I got COVID, so I'm good. I got better than the vaccine.
I'm gonna get a knife and cut out my chip. I'm gonna do it on the next video. Like, that'll be good. COVID-19 shit. No, dude, the book's really good, and he has a lot of good points. And like I said, like we were both saying, like, you know, I don't want the race thing to, you know, to impact any way anybody would read it, because it is necessary part of the book. It's just, towards the end, I felt like there were stories that he told that were similar to earlier stories that he probably could have replaced with different stories, I guess. But either way, a lot of the things had to be said because it's true. And it's sad when he was talking about the numbers about how like 86% or 90% of the people arrested for like crack were black, but literally, I think like half of the users are white. And
that was in Brazil, right?
Yeah, and some of it was some of that was in Brazil, and then but there was some of the stuff in U.S. like the incarceration rates for drugs, like, you know, like for weed is higher for blacks and Mexicans, even though fuck, dude, you see white moms on the fucking TV now, like that are allowed to do the weed thing, you know. That's why that thing does piss me off though. Like I feel like because now weed is so on such a large scale that anybody in jail right now in any state that marijuana is legal for marijuana, and anybody who's in jail for marijuana should be immediately let go, unless like maybe they killed somebody or something over marijuana. But like, you know, like if you're in there for fucking selling weed or having weed, the fact that there's literally so many people that go on TV now and do it openly, that like what the fuck, like it's I would be, you know, I'd be pissed off if one of my family members was in jail for this, and you know, you turn on the TV and see the things you see over weed now, you know, or just over any drug, dude. It's fucking, it is sad. It's crazy, those statistics though, because the statistics are pretty wild on how disproportionate the arrests are or minorities versus
when it comes to drugs, you talk about drugs, and especially the drugs in America, you have to talk about race because it's all connected, and fucking it's wildly obvious when it comes to the numbers, and it's wildly. It's wild to me that people are so ignorant to it, but it's changing, man. It really is. It's wild.
Dude. I think it's changing a lot. Probably not as. I mean, I think the problem is that it hasn't changed as fast as it should have. But it is, dude. I mean, you see it with a fucking book like this would not have been on the mainstream shit 5 years ago, 10 years ago, for sure. Like a book like this dude would have been ostracized.
You talk about it. Did he hear when Joe Rogan brought it up to Dave Chappelle? Dave was like, shut the Dave, because Dave Chappelle was on Joe Rogan like a few days ago, and he brought up the book. I wanted to show you the clip, but I forgot. But Dave Chappelle was like, "Oh, he sounds like the most clever drug addict I've ever heard," and he was like talking, and he said something about like, he said, what did he say? Something like, I don't know, yeah, but he said that something along the lines of like, yeah, it must be nice for this guy to say that, who's a doctor who has a lot of opportunities, and he touched on that, and he kind of pushed back up a little bit on it. But he said, yeah, I don't know about all that, man. He was just like instant. And Joe kind of told him, like, he does, he's a successful guy, but he does heroin recreationally. And he does it all Joe said he sniffs heroin all the time. That's what he said. I was like, well, I don't know if he sniffs heroin all the time, but,
all the time.
That's what he rated about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but dude, I do see the skeptical side of it, to be honest. Even when I read it, I will admit there were parts that I read that I was kind of skeptical about, especially when it comes into like heroin and when he's talking about meth too. And it's like, because I do agree. Like, I feel like this whole time I've been saying, like, I definitely agree with him that we shouldn't stigmatize it. But it is. When I read it, I found myself having to rein myself back in and saying, okay, like, let's listen to what he has to say. Yeah. Although at certain parts I was like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if you should be doing meth, I don't know if that's very healthy for you, Yeah. But, then given his statistics and the way he talks about it, like, I would come to the conclusion that, yes, he has some points. But I could totally see how, like you said, Dave Chappelle, anybody, like, you come in and you hear that, and it's like, oh, well, especially based on what we've heard all our life, it's like, oh, this guy is saying that heroin's not bad for you. And, like, because there are points where he says, too, like, heroin's a lot safer than alcohol, and he says it's even has less side effects than marijuana at one point. And there were points where I was like, okay, this is a little I
mean, maybe pure heroin and like from a fucking lab, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Who fucking has ever done that shit? It's like like on Half Baked when Dave Chappelle gets the medical weed. Like, who's ever smoked that medical weed? We're like, no, you don't get that medical weed. I don't know. Weird. Yeah.
No, yeah. But no, exactly. Like, if he's getting pure drugs, it's a different experience than what the average person is getting. I'm
gonna square up with this fool. Sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead. I think you're doing it.
Carl?
Yeah.
You gonna square up with Carl? Nah. But nah, dude, it's
much respect.
Yeah, and I guess we could wrap this up. And I think it's really cool. It's a really cool book that he wrote. And to me. Important, yeah, and it is really, honestly, like, not in a stupid or cliche way. It is really cool that he's not white, because when you told me about the book and we were thinking about reading it, I'm not gonna lie, in my mind I saw a white man, you know what I mean? And then when I got into it, I was like, oh, this is cool, because this is not the perspective that we're used to getting, especially when you hear, because like he talks about with the racing, like, a lot of times the people who are able to get on TV and talk so positively about drugs are normally not minorities, they're normally not the ones that get that.
I think that's one of them,
which is kind of cool. Like, I think it's a really cool book that he wrote. It's fucking important. I think a lot of people need to read it. And I think he has a lot of good points. Like, people shouldn't be dying because of ignorance. If you die because you take too much, if you die because you want to die, sure, but people shouldn't be dying because they don't know what's in their drugs. People shouldn't be dying because they've never been taught what a correct dose could be, or they don't even have anywhere to look it up.
They shouldn't
look it up.
They shouldn't be dying because people who are powerful are abusing their power And that is the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Because Stone Cold says so, baby. Fuck yeah. Right. But nah, yeah, man, a great book. I would recommend it to everybody. And yeah, man,
yes,
there's a lot of good ideas. You know what he did make me want to do? Because a lot of times when he talks about doing drugs, he's only doing one drug. Like he's doing this drug.
Oh, yeah.
He's not drinking. I was like, you know what? Next time, I mean, I'm not planning on doing anything for a while, but I was like, next time I do a drug, I kind of want to see what it would be like. Because I mean, weed, obviously, I smoke weed all the time. Don't need nothing else. Psychedelics, I could do by themselves. But like, you know, ecstasy, things like that, I don't think there's ever been a time I've ever taken them where I didn't drink as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Back in the day, we did ecstasy. Yeah, we weren't even drinking.
Yeah, but
that's what we were doing.
That many times. Yeah,
a lot. I felt like back in the early days, like Juju Beats, all that shit, we weren't drinking at all. We didn't drink. We didn't drink for like years, I think, a year or two before while we were doing ecstasy and shit. Raves.
You're right. Well, I guess now older in my life, I guess I do, you know?
But we were taking ecstasy pills pressed by who knows what, and I'm sure there was a bunch of things mixed in. It wasn't just pure MDMA most of the time, so still.
Yeah, and taking multiple, you know? I was wondering, like, because a lot of times it sounds like the doses he's taking are not the doses we're taking, you know? They're much smaller, you know? And I was like, I bet you there's a lot of benefits in taking these smaller doses.
Oh, yeah.
And like staying up all fucking night, you know, actually being able to take a little bit, enjoy it, fill it, and then go about your day, you know, like, so it's but yeah, man, it's a great book, and
check it out. Check out the book.